Hola mis amigos. Today we're going to read a story of Josefina, La Historia de Josefina, and how she used clay sculptures to tell her story. So it's very similar to our Pueblo storytellers, but Josefina is actually from Mexico. Everyone in Acatlan knew the pink wall where the painted clay figures watched from the fence. So there's the pink wall, and Josefina made clay figures. Behind the wall in the patio, Mama and Papa Aguilar worked with the soft clay. Baby Josefina watched as the little figures filled the patio, and when she was old enough too, her tiny fingers worked the clay. So, sculptures of people, so portraits. And then there's the clay, and they're three-dimensional sculptures and forms, just like the storytellers. And the bird on her shoulder reminds me of Frida Kahlo, also from Mexico, we learned about. Josefina watched as Papa filled the kiln with their figures, and Mama added the firewood. They waited for the clay to bake in the fire 7 long hours. Then Josefina painted her own little boys and girls and animals and birds. She loved the clay. She was a great sculptor. The years went by, and Mama and Papa passed away. But Josefina kept working with the clay. She married Jose and then kept working still. Their first baby was born, and Josefina kept working. Then another baby was born, and Josefina kept working. And another baby was born, and another, until she had 9 children. And still Josefina kept working with the clay. So there's Josefina and Jose. And then all the children remind me of the storytellers because they're kind of attached to the main characters. And poor number 9's just hanging from the tree. They don't have enough arms for him. Every day she went to the patio. Jose mixed the clay and the children helped paint while Josefina made her world. So even the kids are great sculptors too. It's like a family tradition passed on generation to generation. Early one morning before dawn, Josefina made a sun to light the sky. So a clay sun, one sun, un sol. El sol is the sun. Then she made 2 angels and gave them wings to fly through the sky. So here she is making the wings. She's going to scratch and attach and smooth out. And then when they're dry, she can paint them. Dos ángeles. 2 angels. Josefina carved windows and doors in 3 clay houses to let the sun shine in. And apparently let little critters in too. So, 3 houses, 3 casas. 1, 2, 3. And a casa is a house. And in the sunshine, flowers bloomed. Josefina sniffed the sweet smell and made 4 women to sell the blossoms. So, 4 vendedoras de flores. 4 flower sellers. They're carrying them in their arms and on their head. In the heat of the day, 5 farmers toiled in Josefina's sunny patio as they did in the fields in the valley. So she's representing the farmers, the fields, the landscape. So again, scratch, attach, smooth out, and then when they're dry, she can paint them. Los 5 campesinos, 5 farmers. Josefina made 6 babies for 6 mamas to hold, while she held her own baby close. So 6 madres, 6 mothers, 6 bebés, 6 babies. And again, kind of like storyteller and listener. Oh, the music of the mariachis made Josefina want to sing and dance. Her 7 musicians played as the sun set in the sky. So it's turning to nighttime. 7 mariachis. 7 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in the twilight, Josefina remembered Mama and Papa up in heaven. 8 mourners remembered with her as she drew their tears with a thorn. So she used a thorn as like a little tool to carve into her clay when it was still wet. So 8 dolientes, 8 mourners. But with mourning comes celebration too. You can celebrate their life and all the great memories. Next, she says, life goes on, and Josefina laughed at her 9 skeletons. She was not afraid for night to fall. So again, celebrate their life. 9 calaveras, 9 skulls, and skeletons, kind of like Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, Mexican tradition. In the darkness, Josefina made 10 stars to twinkle bright in the sky. So, here they're still drying. Here she painted them a nice light blue. Blue plus white makes a tint. 10 estrellas, 10 stars. So 10 stars shined on 9 skeletons who danced around 8 mourners, who heard 7 mariachis, who serenaded 6 mothers and their babies, who waited for 5 farmers, who brought flowers to 4 flower sellers, who sold blossoms at 3 houses. 2 angels kept watch as the sun slowly rose in the sky. So all of her sculptures together now create one big scene, one big celebration that represents her life, her heritage and culture, and that's kind of what the Pueblo people do as well. So cultures can be very similar in that way, and art brings them together to remember and celebrate. So that's the story of Josefina, and I hope you can connect it to your own life, your own work, and even the Pueblo people too. Adios, amigos.